Come on, come all. It's this time of the week. It's the time for the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. Thank you, Keith. And as always, on this podcasting journey, my stall, Nigel. Hello, Nigel.
Hello, everyone.
And today's power bottom, Keith.
I couldn't resist that. Hello, everyone.
God,
Someone take his soundboard off him.
I can put my soundboard on if I want. Anyway, how are we all doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. How's everyone else?
I think we're doing okay. We've got Nigel who's desperate. For anyone out there who's got an Amiga 600 that's still functional, he'll pay in kind, shall we say? Wink, wink.
Forever in your debt. Get in touch. Send us a message if you've got an A600 and you live in the UK and you want to sell it.
Yeah. And on that note, we've got some movie news that we need to go through involving the Batman, Justice League, TV stuff, Gremlins, Mortal Kombat trailer. I think I've put in the wrong place. Then we've got some gaming. No Man's Sky's had an update, another update. Crikey! Every time I think about playing that game, they've come up with an update. Some new games. We're going to talk about Wandavision because something interesting happened in Wandavision. And then we've got a lovely what the fuck. So let's start off by going into the movie news. The highly anticipated Batman movie has reportedly been delayed again after Robert Pattinson's stunt double tested positive for coronavirus. Matt Reeves' directed movie, which stars Colin Farrell's Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, has been hit by the virus for a third time. According to the Sun newspaper, we're having so many people away from the set, it's a real headache. But it looks like the film's set on track to wrap for next month. And to put on top of that, there's rumours that Pattinson and Kravitz are fucking. To put it bluntly, they've got no screen chemistry, but apparently they've been caught shagging in the trailer a few times.
How can you not have chemistry if that's happening?
Well, have you seen Zoe Kravitz? Dude, she's like devoid of a personality.
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna have to Google her.
Just before we carry on, look. It's got to be done. I don't know, but he's in the chat. You know what that means, don't you?
He was in the chat. It looks like he's dropped out. So,
but
hello, Dave.
For when he comes back, yes. So the Batman, the movie looks like it's going to be wrapped up and sorted. So despite all the COVID stuff, I have to say that Colin Farrell as the Penguins, as we said last time, looks fantastic. He really genuinely looks like the Penguin. I think it's great that he's managed to do that. I have no idea what this film's going to be like, considering all the hoo-ha surrounding it. We've got Pattinson and Kravitz have no chemistry, but they're screwing in the trailer when they say cut. Yeah. We've got Pattinson moaning and groaning on about not working out. Yeah. You've got people saying the fight choreography looks a little weird. I think the car looks all right. It's people moaning about the car. Yeah, so do you think this film's going to be any good? Or do you think it's just going to be an almighty mess?
I don't know. I'm interested in seeing their version of the Riddler and the Penguin, but we've had both in Gotham recently. They are apparently doing the Riddler like that sort of like modern computer hacking kind of thing, which I've always thought would be an interesting take on the Riddler. I like Robert Pattinson. I thought he was really good in Tenet. I still don't know if he's going to be a good Batman. I know that this is an unpopular view, but I kind of wish we'd seen Ben Affleck's Batman because I think that would have been interesting. I quite liked Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, and I think he worked as Batman. I just don't think the movie, it wasn't him that was bad about the movies. It was the writing and direction that were bad. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't mind the Batmobile though. The Batmobile's kind of, it's an interesting take. You know, they had to go somewhere different, so they've kind of gone muscle car Mustang, Shags the Tumbler, and this is the love child, and it kind of looks cool.
Yeah, I always found it weird that Batman put bat on everything. Yeah, you can imagine he's got bat condoms in his utility belt. I'm going to get lucky without the bat condoms.
That was the 1960s Batman that played Joker, and in the comics it was a joke, but latter comics not so much.
Yeah, well, it's always like if Batman had time to plan and prep for anything, he could beat anyone. Yeah, which is the same for Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. I just like to point out, and the X-Men, and probably Superman, and Constantine, and pretty much everyone. If they all had enough time to plan and prepare, they could beat anyone else. Yeah, so that's the dumbest fucking argument for Batman I ever hear. It's like, but I'm a bit worried about this one. I think it's gonna be meh. I don't think it's gonna be crap. I don't think it's gonna be great. I think people will come out and go, yeah, it's all right. Yeah,
I think it was a movie they greenlit and it went into production before the Snyder Cut got sort of given a resurrected, should I say. And there is now, you know, Affleck has come back and agreed to do the reshoots and come back into the world of Batman. And I do think there is a following for his Batman. And I think he's quite a talented director. A couple of the films that I've seen that he's directed have been pretty damn good. And I'm gutted we never saw his. It was the only reason I wanted to see another Batman film was because he was involved in it. You know, we've had the Nolan Bat trilogy recently. We got this new sort of Batman for the sort of cinematic DC universe, and that was fine. But do we need another single movie? I don't know. But I am interested to see what they're doing with the bad guys. I have to admit. But I think you're right. I think it's going to be a bit meh.
Yeah, I think people are going to be a bit meh about it. Nige, before we roll on to the next story, you got an opinion on this?
I'm always a little bit meh about DC films. So my opinion is not going to change.
Fair enough. I just hope because there was rumor that Zoe Kravitz was pregnant at one point. I was like, that's bollocks. This shag.
But she was married, but she's apparently divorced.
Yeah.
Since January it was announced. So that's probably why she's on the rebound.
Okay, fair enough. So let's move on to our next one.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
Volume was right that time round. Okay. Kathleen Kennedy, like an imbecile, poked her head up above the parapet and took a bullet, shall we say. There's a video on the Oscars website where Kathleen Kennedy talks about the importance of women in the film industry after firing a woman. It's the first appearance since firing Gina Carano, and thus the cancelled Disney Plus movement was created. Kathleen Kennedy appeared in a YouTube video celebrating women's achievements in the film industry, hosted by the Oscars YouTube channel, which has received 25,000 views at time of publication from this year, and a lot of dislikes. And I know because I joined in, because I thought it was fun. Let's all have a fun. She goes, opens the video by going, fade in. Yeah, she goes, fade in. It's like, no, you're not supposed to read that. That's like Kevin Sorbo with disappointed, but he did it with a bit more class, shall we say?
Wasn't that the it's very similar to the film? Was it Anchorman, where he reads the auto cue exactly as it's written?
Yes,
that's her.
Which I found. I found it horrendous to watch. I'll be honest with you. Just listening to her go off and stuff and saying, "Well, we know you don't believe in that through your actions. Yeah, we can see it through your actions. You don't believe in that shit. Don't fucking try and sell us that because we know it's bullshit." All right. So
it's one of the most ratioed, I think is the term they call it, movies going. I think it was less than 1%. I think it was like 98% disliked. The comments were incredible. The Oscars because it got so bad they switched everything off, so you can't actually see what happened. But everybody was having a go at her. She's evidently gone back into hiding. The shareholders are rumored to be very, very angry. Gina Carraro has done an amazing interview this weekend where she has just leveled on Disney to the point where she had to be, in order to stay at Disney, she was going to have to be chastised on a Zoom call by 40 people. And you just listen to this stuff and you think, oh my God. And then you see Kathleen Kennedy put that out and it's utter bullshit. And John Favreau has threatened to quit because it's ridiculous. The statement that Disney put out, I mean, I stand by I don't think Gina Carraro was particularly clever doing what she did in this day and age. But what Disney said was an out and right lie. And the statement that Disney put out was just bullshit. You know it came from Kathleen Kennedy. You know that Kathleen Kennedy has had it in for Gina Carraro since the beginning because she doesn't support this namby-pamby bullshit fucking feminist crap because she is her own woman. She's a woman, but she's proud of it. You don't need this bullshit politics around it.
I watched a good chunk of the interview. I didn't watch it all, but I got a good chunk of the interview. She's really upset by the fact that people think she's a horrible person, more so than being fired by Disney.
Yeah,
that was the bit that got her more than anything else. Is that people think I'm a horrible asshole where I'm not, and she seems like one of those people that you meet who act like your big sister, who then help you out with your problems and try and deal with these things left, right, and center. Yeah, it's.
Every time I've seen her appear, she comes across really well. She doesn't come across as an arsehole at all.
Yeah, and then there was an article saying that her parents managed to get money from casinos to try and make her, because they've got nothing on her. Yeah, so they want to try and make her look as seedy as possible because they want to associate her with casinos. Apart from the hedge funds and investors use casinos to make themselves money, which is perfectly legal in the state of Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to try and associate her with the seedy side because they're so desperate, and she's not done anything really wrong. And it's difficult for these people to do this. She also said that there appears to be a lot of, like, an army of troll accounts that don't post anything and then all of a sudden post something when something crops up. And she says that she reckons this shit was coming from Disney. And you know what? I'll believe her because I've seen it happen to not just her. But
I think it's...
What's his face? Star Wars Theory was one of them.
I think it's coming from the Kathleen Kennedy camp. It's blatantly obvious that I don't buy into some of the crap that the fandom menace says, because I think it's wishful thinking. But this thing about there being two camps, it's obvious. But Disney has lost over $1 billion in 2020. The shareholders are pissed, right? Things whereas Star Wars you could afford pre-2020, you could afford Marvel and Star Wars to slightly underperform because the money was coming in from Disney Plus and it was coming in from the parks and everything like that. There's none of that now. The somehow the crew over at The Mandalorian managed to garner some love back for Star Wars again. And a lot of that was to do with, it wasn't to do with the character of The Mandalorian. I'm sorry, Pedro Pascal, but it wasn't. It was Baby Yoda. It was, and a lot of it was Gina Carano because everybody really liked her character. It was interesting, the episode where she's playing around with the dreadful puppet, but it was a funny episode. And what you've done is fire her for something that arguably, was slightly, but instead of getting her to issue a statement correcting herself and doing an interview like she's just done, where she didn't drop you in the shit, but came across really, really well, then you've just got those small, minute amount of people on Twitter, a bunch of arseholes who are never going to be happy, are going to be still bitching, but most of the world's going to go, oh, okay, fair enough. We, might have not worded it the right way, might have not said what she meant, but fair enough, she's a nice girl. That's what you had to do. But what Disney actually did was fucking sell her down the river and call her racist, which she's not.
Yeah.
She might have conservative politics. That's fine. Do I agree with all of her politics? Do I fuck? But that doesn't mean that she's a horrible person.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the first and biggest problem that I've got, is people are using Twitter to make fucking decisions, and Twitter is cancer. There's no two ways about it. Twitter is just full of horrible people.
Not just Twitter. It's social media in general.
Social media is bad, but Twitter is the worst because they take all their bloody cues from Twitter. They think that Twitter is a representative sample size of their audience, which it is not. Yeah, people don't like Twitter. All right.
The interesting thing is that since this video came out, and usually they would have Kathleen Kennedy out front and center, and she just hasn't been seen since. Not that she's going to get fired, but I can seriously see her getting sidelined this time. I really can.
I would fire her or put her in charge of fucking maintenance. She'd fuck that up too. Where are all the women bin collectors? Anyway, talking of Twitter, brave enough to follow us on social media? Why don't you follow us on Twitter at Monkey Nut Punch? Thanks. Still don't like it. Okay, so news to me, right? Avatar's been filming. I didn't know Avatar 2 was being made. I know he's got like 5 films planning, but James Cameron invited Jon Favreau in there to see some new set bits, and apparently James Cameron didn't learn from The Abyss, where he was filming underwater and it went to shit. He almost died, along with several other cast members. All right, just a little thing. When The Abyss was filming, they had so many problems when they were filming in their underwater tank in the middle of bloody, I can't remember, Kansas or whatever. Yeah, they had so many troubles. Yeah, the cast all on the same day decided to trash their trailers and walk out because it was that bad when they were filming The Abyss. Yeah. James Cameron himself got stuck, underwater. He ran out of oxygen as he was coming up. His valve broke on his. Sorry, not his valve broke. The valve on the reciprocating oxygen that the guy was carrying, he was trying to give Cameron oxygen. Yeah, the valve on that was breaking and pushing in water, so he was almost trying to drown him. So he had to punch the rescue diver, and he still insists in filming under bloody water. I was going to say, what's wrong with it?
Lessons learned.
Yeah, lessons learned.
I'm sure he's looked at that and gone, do you know what? We've got to make sure this is right this time. He won't get the same issues again.
The other thing too is based on the ride, not on the film, because I can barely remember the film. Right, based on the ride, there's barely any water in it. There's some water towards the end. You haven't been on the ride, Nige. I know you're trying to remember, but they hadn't finished it when you were there.
No. When we were there, they were still building it. And I really want to go on that ride. But
it's a good ride. But it's just
the little bits that we could see a few floating rocks, and that was about it.
It's better. It's much better when it's done.
I did know about the making Avatar 2. Baxter said it himself. They're filming number 2 and 3 back to back.
I'll be honest with you. All films that have been filmed back to back have all been fucking disasters.
We'll see. I thought Avatar as a film, it was quite long.
That's not.
But it was
entirely true.
It was fairly complete, wasn't it? As a story. I wonder where they go from here.
The people just turn up again. Sorry, Keith said something, and I'm interested because that's not necessarily true. Because if on The Matrix Reloaded and Unloaded.
Okay, so Superman's 1 and 2, which were commercial successes, were shot back to back. Back to Future's Part 2 and 3 were shot back to back.
Wait a second. Superman was edited to the point that they destroyed the entire story. Yeah, so I wouldn't describe that as a creative success.
But it was a commercial success. But Back to the Future's 2 and 3, you can't argue with. They were shot back to back.
I can argue with 2 and 3, yeah.
No, you can't. Don't go there. No, don't.
I will.
Back to the Future's Parts 1, 2, and 3 are fantastic movies. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will agree with you on everything, but that's just sacrilege.
This isn't the time to dissect Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Going back to Avatar, I'm not really interested in it. I like the ride. It's like Star Wars. I like Star Tours as a ride more than I do the new Star Wars films. They're much better. It's much better. I'd rather queue up for 90 minutes and go on Star Tours than I would sitting down for 90 minutes watching Star Wars.
Yeah, I quite like the Star Tours ride. Was brilliant, and it changes every time, doesn't it?
Well, it did.
If you're lucky.
It did up until 2020 when they decided to make it all what do you call it? Rise of Skywalker, which I'm hoping they've stopped now.
They've probably changed that now. But I'm gutted that we didn't have a chance to. Well, do you know what? If I had a choice of watching the new trilogy or queuing up to go on the ride a couple of times, I'd probably queue up and go on the ride. And I hate queuing. I hate it with a passion. And I would probably queue up to go on Star Tours a couple of times more.
Yeah. So it's a case of, ladies and gentlemen, you want to do Avatar Flight of Passage, I think it's called. Much better. I'll be honest with you, it's a 3D movie where you sit on a big kind of those big springy things that you get in the park. It's just like that, but it's great. I'll be honest with you. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Watching the content so far? Why don't you leave a comment and join in with us? Crikey, pressed the wrong button there. Justice League trailer dropped after we did the podcast last week. The problem, I'm pissed, right, because they're not putting it in bloody 16:9. They're doing it for fucking Twitter and Instagram, which is kind of grating on me. So what we'll do is we'll watch this and we'll see what you can see and how you feel about it. So that says press
The bell's been rung. But in the dark, among the stars, the god is dead.
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
My lord, this one will fall.
I need warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at
it. You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes you the rest of your life, find out what that reason is.
He said the age of heroes would never come again.
It was. It's a Zack Snyder movie. It's going to be like 5 hours long.
It will. It has to.
All right, okay, let's just stop that there.
No. There's an important scene.
Oh, is there an important bit at the end? Crikey.
Yes, there is.
That's too bloody much. Look where. Oh yes, now I remember.
Our honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
All right, there you go. You got it, Keith. You got it. I hope you're happy. Right, okay. So I'm watching this out of curiosity. I don't think it's going to be any good. I'm just curious to see what he was going to do. It looks a lot tidier than the one that we got. Everything looks cleaner and better edited. Okay, there's a bit of a rubbery Wonder Woman jumping over Steppenwolf. Yeah, I think this is. Yeah.
It's going to be Batman versus Superman, the director's cut, That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a more coherent film. It's going to be better than Joss Whedon's version, but then that's not exactly difficult. But they're still going with Zack Snyder's vision, and I didn't like his vision. I mean, I don't like how he treats the characters. That they are not written like they should be. And I know there is a fan base out there, and I get it. And there is a large fan base out there. I mean, this movie is going to get subscriptions for HBO Max. It's going to hit here. I'm getting it on HBO Go, so because they've started advertising it. Comes out in a couple of weeks, doesn't it? But it's still not going to be good. He's still talking about Superman being the god is dead and blah. And I don't like that vision of it. I don't like that view of it. But look, and I'm a DC man. When it comes to comics, I have more DC comics in my collection than I did Marvel. I used to collect all the Batmans because I fucking loved them.
I've got about 400 Marvel comics under my bed that my wife wants me to do something about it.
I've got quite a few Marvel, but I had more DC stuff than I had.
I was really into Spider-Man and Marvel UK's version of Transformers, which is better than the others.
I've got all of the Amazing Spider-Mans. I've got Spider-Man. That was my Marvel collection, really. And I've got a few of the the sort of Marvel sort of big events. Original Civil War and a few others going on there, but Batman, I don't know. I will watch it like you. I will watch it out of curiosity. I think it'll be better than Batman versus Superman. Come on, you can't get worse than your mum's Martha, my mum's Martha too. The world is saved, everybody, because their mums were called Martha. Everything's cool.
I just love it when Deadpool. I can't remember. Did Deadpool yell Martha?
Deadpool rips the shit out of it. Yes,
I love
Deadpool
that. That made me smile. Nigel, you want to say something, mate?
No, I was just thinking you guys had a totally different type of comic than I did when I was growing up. I just had the Dandy and Beano.
I had them too, but I had Marvel Transformers, Marvel Spider-Man, Iron Man, G.I. Joe, and Zoids.
You see, for me, it was along with the paper getting delivered, my nan also used to get the Beano and the Dandy. So whenever I'm over once a week, I'll be sitting there thumbing through and reading all the comics. So I've got all those in my loft, along with some other old stuff.
I may have a few Beanos in my collection. I've got a few annuals and things hiding away.
But then at the same time, you guys you're reading Spider-Man and Transformers and whatever else. And really, as a kid, I've seen them on the TV, like the shitty cartoons you had back then, here and there. But I've only been really introduced to this lot, the Marvel and DC lot, with you guys, really. A little bit before, but you know.
have to remember that Nigel lived in the cupboard under the stairs. He still lives in the same cupboard under the stairs until he received a magical letter one day, and he was invited to work.
You see, that was the thing. I had those two, and just like Babster, computer mags and games.
I had computer mags too. I had.
I was doing. I was older then. If I wasn't playing football every day when I was at my nan's reading the Dandy Beano, or I had an Amiga format to read. So there we go. I didn't have time for Marvel and DC. God, that's why I'm not into it as much as you
Most
guys.
of my Spider-Man collection came after I was 20.
When you could afford
my Spider-Man 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Right, time we move on. Gremlins Secret of the Mogwai cast adds Mandalorian and Jurassic Park stars to lineup. According to Variety, Ming-Yang Wan, if I said that correct, the Mandalorian and Mulan star will voice Feng Wong, a doctor of Chinese medicine who's said to be resourceful, slyly funny, fiercely protective over her family, whilst BD Wong, I find really creepy fella, who was in Jurassic Park and Mr. Robot, will voice Hong Wing, a character described as calm rock, who has never believed in his father-in-law's tales of magic and adventure. Well, it's not getting shown in China. That's the first thing, if it's got magic and adventure in. And I thought if you were going to do a prequel to Gremlins, you would have done the Second World War and based it off the story that Roald Dahl did. Because Roald Dahl did the story of Gremlins, where they would be sneaking these little things in, and then they would get into the aircraft, causing them to crash. It's set in 1920 Shanghai. The animated animated television adaptation will tell the story of how Sam Wing met the young Mogwai called Gizmo. Sam and Gizmo, together with Ellie, will take on perilous journeys through the Chinese countryside, encountering sometimes battling colourful monsters and spirits from Chinese folklore. However, their quest to return Gizmo to his family and uncover a legendary treasure, they will be pursued by Riley Green, who is growing an army of evil green gremlins. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a good story. It's a kid's cartoon. As I said, if you want to do a prequel, base it on the original short story by Roald Dahl, because that's where the story of Gremlins and that came from. And it's always something that you hear, like from mechanics and stuff. Where there's still Gremlins and stuff in the works. It's quite nice to actually have little green monster might be screwing things up, like in the what's that thing, the Twilight Zone. The two ones that were done, there was probably a third one that was done, but it was crap. You had Captain Kirk, William Shatner do it in the TV show, and then you had John Lithgow do it in the movie, where you have the gremlin on the wing that's ripping away at the jet engine, and he's going, "There's something on the wing." Nice doesn't know that quote at all. I bet, Keith, do you know that quote? Is it me?
Yes.
Good. That was great. That was one of the all-time classics.
I love Gremlins. 1 and 2. I know that Gremlins 2 wasn't as popular, but I love them both. Great movies. I had like 3D holographic stickers of them as a kid.
Oh, the old reticular sort of thingies.
Yeah.
The hologram.
And they came back in the the Lego movies, didn't they? Was it Lego Batman? It was Lego Batman, wasn't it? When
Batman had the Daleks in that too.
Yeah, they had the Daleks and Gremlins, and they did There's Something on the Wing, and it was a Gremlin, and then the Daleks come in. That was cool. It was. I'm a big fan of Gremlins, I have to admit. I'm partially looking forward to seeing something come back. They've done an advert recently, haven't they? There's an advert on TV with Mountain Dew advert or something, I think, with Gremlins. Yeah.
I always like his what do you call it? Is there's an argument between who's cuter, Baby Yoda or Gizmo, and I can't remember, some celebrity telling it's Gizmo because he was there originally and pretty much
Gizmo because he's furry.
Yes, he is furry.
Otherwise, they're the same.
Yeah, it's true. It would be the same.
They're exactly like layer them over. Gizmo because you could stroke him. You can't really stroke Baby Yoda. It's like stroking a hairless cat. Pointless.
I could just picture something like it bite. Do you ever watch Garth Marenghi where they had Skipper the Eye Child? No, just me. I'm the only person who ever watched Garth Marenghi. I'll be honest with you. What do you call it? Stranger Things ripped off a hell of a lot from Garth Marenghi's Dark Places. Yeah. In Garth Marenghi's Dark Places, in the first episode, he accidentally opens a portal to hell whilst having a Coke float with someone. Yeah. So apparently he closed it, but he didn't close it all the way, and evil things are creeping through. And you have the giant monster that attacks someone in the most weird way possible, and then he finds a little baby one like Dustin does in in Stranger Things, and it's called Skipper the Eye Child. And at the end, when it's like kind of he has to hand it over, he like goes to stroke the little baby, and it bites his finger. And as it's on his finger, he then smashes the crap out of it and then beats it to death in a sink. Brilliant drama. You should really watch it. It takes the piss out of Stephen King, especially with the quote, "You're talking to the man who's written more books than he's read." Which I love that quote.
I can imagine Stephen King saying that. What I didn't realise about the Gremlins, though, it's going to be an animated series, unfortunately.
we were talking about this a while back, if I remember, because we were hearing grumblings and rumors, but we didn't hear anything solid until now.
Yeah, I would have. I don't mind it being an anime. It depends on the animation style that they use. I don't know. I recently introduced the kids to Gremlins, first one, and they quite liked it. It's a little bit funny. It's got a little bit of not horror, but a little bit towards that because it's not young, but you know, they still enjoyed it. So yeah, interested to see what this actually does. I don't know. Yeah, the premise is nice.
I'll give it a watch if I can find it on British
Yeah,
TV.
I'm not going to go out of my way to subscribe to some new thing. It's Warner, isn't it? Yeah, Warner Bro. They've got their own thing.
Yeah,
I'm not going to subscribe to that.
I don't know what it is in this country. So, without further ado, let's move on. Hi, we've also got a Facebook page. Why don't you pop over there and give us a like? You can also watch the live streams on there. Thanks. Right. J.J. Abrams, person who I hate. There should be a rule in Hollywood. Yeah, you ruin three franchises, you're gone forever. Yeah, because him and his bloody mates have destroyed more. How can I put it? More TV and films than I'd like to admit. And he's in there for Star Wars as well because his first Star Wars was shit. All right, I didn't like it. I thought it was just a rehash. You guys were kind of like, no, it was shit. All right, it was just literally the greatest hits. It was slapped onto an album. It's like, I already own that album. Why am I buying it again? Okay, the rumor is to classify that J.J. Abrams was working on a Constantine series for HBO Max, and indicates the direction of the character from the Illuminati. Sorry, we learned that Abrams' streaming service is looking for a black Indigenous person or person of color to play Liverpool's #1 wizard. I'd just like to point out that John Constantine, is modelled on the singer Sting. And if you look at it there, he looks like bloody Sting, yeah? Look at it there, looks like Sting. The same way that Lucifer in the comics is modelled on David Bowie. Now, I can understand not getting away from it, but you need to find a genuine Scouse if you want to do it properly. I hate this thing because he's not doing it to improve the character. He's not doing it because he's found an actor who's just absolutely brilliant, fantastic, charismatic, can pull the whole thing off. Yeah, and it's like, Christ, if he was only white, it would work. No, he's doing it because he wants to tick a box. He wants to get that kind of thing. It's this horrible. I think there's a way of describing it. Is this a mafia, shall we say? Yeah, there's the LGBTQ mafia. I think there's the black activist mafia too in Hollywood, and they demand blood. They demand that there be sacrifice characters and things. Now, if it is a decent actor, if it's a Scouse black guy, I'll be fine with that. If he's actually got a Scouse black guy, if it was John Barnes, okay, he's a bit on the large side, right? If it was John Barnes, yeah, I would understand because he's Scouse. But John Barnes isn't an actor, so no, it's just like shaking head. No, not John Barnes.
No, he doesn't have a strong Scouse accent either. I reckon
accent, no.
if he held, what do they call it? Auditions. That's the word. Yes. Auditions. If they held auditions in Liverpool, looking for an actor, a male actor to play Constantine, and they just whittled it down to the final 3, and they picked the best guy.
Yeah,
with a nice Scouse accent, and it's a black actor, a Hispanic actor, a white actor. I don't care. They're going to do the job. But if you immediately exclude a demographic, surely that's not
racist.
Right.
That's racist. If you're doing that and excluding demographic, it's racist, and especially when the John Constantine is supposed to be the leader of the Dark Justice League. Now it sounds really fucking racist when you put it in those terms, yeah? See, Keith didn't think of that, and he's gone, oh, yeah, it's obvious now, isn't it? But it's because he didn't just have an open casting call to everyone. Yeah? If there was an open casting call to everyone, all right, if there's an open casting call to everyone, and then it just happened to be a black, that would be fine, because clearly you've done it on the basis of.
And you got the best guy for the job, or the best gal for the job.
If that's the case, I will accept them. Easy. There's no this, that, the other, because they were hired because they were the most talented person. If that was the case, fine.
Do you know what? We've had a great shout in the comments here for the man, Craig Charles.
Craig Charles. I'd do Craig there. Craig Charles would do it.
His accent isn't too strong, but it's there.
Yes.
Oh, it can be.
He can be.
It can be if he tries, yeah.
But he was.
Could you
perfect.
imagine a Lister-esque Constantine? That would work as a comedy.
Well, I mean, Constantine himself had a few sort of Lister-esque habits.
Get him on board. Bring the casting director, get him on board.
But I'm not interested in another Constantine movie, especially from the likes of J.J. Abrams.
Anything that comes out of JJ's thing is like, nope. Bad robot, no views, bye, go away. Because it's just crap. It's just crap. And you know what the worst thing is? It's so crap, they're now trying to cover it up with, how can I put it? These kind of headline grabbing things to get you to watch it, but it's crap. Yeah, there are if you had hired someone, if it's who's the guy who plays Baron Mordo, who's also the bad guy in
Daniel
Boots too. He played
Daniel
Baron Mordo, the bad guy in Kinky Boots. He was in Kinky Boots as the giant transsexual fella, and he was in Serenity. That fella.
No, sorry, not that fella. He's got a weird name.
Yes, he has a very weird name. That's why I have trouble remembering it.
But he was amazing in Kinky Boots. I mean, he was utterly amazing in that film.
He could do that. If you said that he had done the casting call, done the interview and whatnot, and came out top, I would believe that because he's a good actor.
He was very good. Surprisingly though, because I took my wife to see the stage show while we were in London, we got tickets to it. Stage show is good as well. But he was he was in The Martian as well, wasn't he? He played Victor Kapoor in The Martian, even though the character's Indian. Yeah. Oh God, I can't. I know who you mean. I just can't pronounce his name.
Is it Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yes.
I believe. I think. Anywho,
I have had to Google him. That hasn't just come out from the back of my head.
The long of it, the long and short of it is JJ has what's referred to as the reverse Midas touch. Him and his friends, everything they touch turns to shit. And we'll move on from there.
A word's too much for you? Then you should follow us on Instagram. We put pretty pictures out. Thanks.
Before you do the trailer, can I do it?
Go on.
Mortal Kombat!
Right.
By the way, I beat him.
I saw this Friday. I think I've watched this about 7 times to try and get a feel for what's going on. And the more I watch it, the more I'm thinking, I think I'm going to like this. I really think I'm going to like this.
I think I'm going to like this.
Yeah.
Mindless action. Brilliant.
Yes.
First learned about this 7 years ago. On a mission in Brazil to capture a wanted fugitive. When we got there, it tore through our unit in seconds. The target had superhuman abilities. It had the same marking you do, Cole.
It's a birthmark.
What do you mean?
He was born with it.
It's not a birthmark, Cole. It means you've been chosen.
Throughout history, different cultures all over the world reference a great tournament of champions. That dragon marking, I think it's an invitation to fight for something known. As Mortal Kombat.
These are your champions.
I'm Sonya. That's Kano.
I'm Liu Kang.
Thanks, Jax.
Kung Lao.
Lord Raiden, the fate of Earth is in our hands.
Yes, Raiden.
No matter how many of my people you put in the ground, we will not fail. Kill them. Sub-Zero.
Do that bit.
Get over here! Get over here!
I'm gonna. Oh, hang on to it. The Shang Tsung.
Kano wins. You fucking beauty.
That's my stop it.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love that bit.
Right. I liked Mortal Kombat as a game. I was more of a fan of it than I was Street Fighter, which we're going to cover in a second because someone made a massive fucking boo boo. It looks fantastic. There are certain bits in this that are great. I think Sub-Zero looks like the prime bad guy. He's not, but that trailer makes him look like the prime bad guy because he rips off what's his magician's limbs. He's fighting with Scorpion in the what's it. He does the thing with the bullet. I love the thing with the bullet where he grabs a gun and the bullet comes out and he just freezes it as it comes out of the gun. And you're like, ooh, proper badass. The guy, they've got this guy in it. I can't remember his name now. They've got this. He's like an inn. Probably the best way of describing it is an inn for it. I think Sub-Zero is going to die, and I think he's going to be the replacement for Sub-Zero or Scorpion. I love the way that they flashed back to Scorpion where he's getting attacked at his house and he picks up the thing and makes himself a quick weapon. Just to start. Oh, dude, that looks so good. The fighting. This is just going to be fun. It's going to be dumb, stupid shit, but it's going to be cool.
That bit. Forgotten the name of it. It's not Raiden. Where he's made that thing.
Scorpion.
Do you think that bit there, where he's made the thing, and then that's later on in life? But
no, that's
what we see him. This bit is him later in life, but it's apparently the same character. Earlier on, getting ingrained into it.
It's
flashbacky.
It is a flashback to back in like feudal China when or Japan. I can't fucking remember. It's Japan, isn't it? The ninjas. It's feudal Japan, and this is when people sent the assassins to kill him and his family, and unfortunately they succeed because he dies, and then he's brought back to life by another deity who then uses him to fight in the tournament for his realm, and he's after Sub-Zero for revenge, and it's just man, that's. I
don't know about you, but as a kid, whenever we went on holiday to these caravan parks and stuff, they always had an arcade, and in that arcade there was always Mortal Kombat and The Simpsons. But someone was always having a go on a Mortal Kombat game, and there's one guy I remember watching. He was just brilliant at it, and that was the first time I ever saw the monster with 4 arms and him fighting it. What's his name?
Goro.
I was looking at it going, my word, that's awesome. And I like the fact they've got him in there. I've always wondered how can they make a film out of literally it's just 2 people fighting off against each other in a game. That's literally the game. How can you make I hope there's a good, I don't need a properly good story, but a little bit of a flowy story to get to the fighty tournament bit.
As I said, they've got this guy in here, the one with the tattoo. He's a completely new character. I think that he's supposed to be the audience, his way of getting into the story. But I think that he has a history behind him, which will make him either a relative of Sub-Zero or Scorpion. That's what I think it is.
Reincarnated of Scorpion.
I don't know. It could be interesting. It will be interesting.
I like, this is right up my alley. like proper action, just going on, action. I hope it's like that throughout. I really do.
It's like Raiden. They all look really good, considering you think about what it's like. It's stupid, silly, stupid nonsense, but they've managed to pull it off and make it feel much more realistic.
Every character there, it looks exactly how I remember them to be in the game from my childhood. I know there's been Mortal Kombat since. I don't care about them. I'm thinking about the earlier ones, and they look how I remember them, and that is exactly what draws you in as a person who's played these games, making it respecting the source material.
Yeah, it is. Just like
that bit.
He jabs blood. A spurt of blood pops out of Scorpion. Yeah, he then turns it into ice and stabs him with it. Someone sat down and had a real good long think about all the cool shit they could do.
He goes, "What?" Someone's gone, "What can Scorpion or what can Sub-Zero freeze?" Well, and they've listed a load of stuff, and they've gone, "Hang on, liquid blood. Okay, let's freeze that." Yes, got an idea. Brilliant, and it is awesome.
It does look great. It does. Look, I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably looking forward to that more than I am the Snyder Cut. I'll be honest with you. I've watched that trailer about 7 times since Friday since I found it. But yeah, dude, it looks good. The Raiden looks fucking awesome. Kung Lao looks awesome. Jax with his arms. Okay, the story of Jax losing his arms has been changed in the game several times, but I'll be honest with you, if it's Sub-Zero who did it to him, it kind of makes a bit of sense, and plus he wants some payback. And it looks great. The problem is we live in a world of stupidity, utter stupidity, right? Who forgot to invite Chun-Li to Mortal Kombat?
I can't tell.
A second. Let me read this. I had a choice pick from this. But being the astute film critic that I am, I immediately clocked a glaring error in the film. Where in all the realms is Chun-Li? If there's a battle for the fate of Earth, then why don't we need the greatest warriors all gathered, which would include Chun-Li and a spinning bird kick? I'm just like, kind of, dude, you're not that astute a fucking film critic if you can't tell the difference between Chun-Li.
I can tell you which realm they're in. The Street Fighter realm.
Yes, not the Mortal Kombat realm.
I couldn't tell when I read that. I couldn't tell whether or not they were just having a fucking laugh or not. If they were actually serious, I can't tell. I don't know the website.
Given the quality of journalism that we've seen over the last month, given the quality of journalism over the last month, that is 100% real. I will not say anything other than that.
Most of the comments under that article were, I can't tell. Knowing the articles they put up, I sort of feel that they are joking. It might be a similar site to what is that site, The Onion or something. They post fake shit all the time. I don't know if it's like that just to trigger people. It might be.
It might be. But the long and the short of it is, I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat. I want to watch it. I'm hoping it's good. More excited than I am for the Snyder Cut, I'll be honest with you, because that looks new and exciting. Even though technically it's not new and exciting, they've done several films beforehand.
The Snyder what? I don't care. I'm not even going to watch that.
Yeah, true.
It will even completely pass me by that it's been released. Mortal Kombat, on the other hand, I'm itching to go out and see it.
And with that, we'll move on to the next section.
Can I just address something here? Just before we go on to this story.
Yes.
Baxter's raised a really, really good point. No.
Why isn't Spock in Return of the Jedi? Oh, hang on a second. Look, right. Can you see my t-shirt? See my t-shirt there?
Yeah. Oh my god, it's R2D2. I love it.
This t-shirt gets worn because it's running out of stuff. Hello, Chuck, while you're at it. Right. Okay. No Man's Sky players can now tame and breed strange alien creatures with the latest update from Hello Games, which is it looks good. One problem I had with No Man's Sky was the fauna. The creatures, they were shit, and they needed to be addressed. And we've got a lovely video here that we can watch, so we can have a feel for what's going on.
Cool.
So let's pop them on.
What a PS5, it looks so good.
It looks pretty good on the Xbox S. By the way,
It's just got me wondering, is what we're saying, is all these things, are they tamed and they're just following them around? Everyone.
Yeah, because they've all got bits on. You can give them like harnesses and other stuff to go with it.
You can ride them.
Yeah, you can ride them. You can ride them. You could ride them previously, but the fauna was shite, and it looks like they've done a massive improvement to them. The downside is that when you go into the Nexus, there they go.
Oh yeah, cool.
That looks much better.
Do you know, I haven't played this since we all played with Bapster.
Yeah.
And so I think it's about time I try and update it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know how to tame one of these things anyway.
You just keep giving it food until it either dies or becomes your friend. That's how I did it.
Overfeeding or...
They just pop. Oops, screwed that one up. Try again.
This is why I'm not allowed pets.
But dude, every time that keeps drawing me back. Yes, Bapster, they have crossplay. They do. They have crossplay. So we can play on PS5 with you on your PS4. I can play on my Xbox S Series with you on your PC, and Nigel on his PS5, and Keith on his PS4. Keith on his PS4. Just add that in.
I wonder if I had it on the Xbox X, which is on Game Pass, by the way.
Yes.
Could I play with you guys on your PlayStation?
Yes. We just need to find each other.
The thing is, it's getting into a party together, isn't it? That's the tricky thing.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. You can do it because there is like a No Man's Sky friends list inside the game. I think I've added you on my Xbox profiles, your PlayStation IDs. So we have to do that. Oh, Chucky. There you go. Look, you just need...
That's for you too!
That is something Bapster said in the past.
Yeah, and you know what? You're both right. Keith just needs to do it. Do you know the worst thing, Keith, is every time I go to look, right, I need to look at 8 o'clock, not at 9 o'clock, because I keep looking at 9 o'clock and they're all sold out. Yeah, I need to look at 8 o'clock when I'm looking for your bloody PlayStation 5. The problem is I've got work on, so you kind of get into work mode. But when you get it, the Xbox S version of No Man's Sky looks better. The first thing I did, one of the first games I put on my S was No Man's Sky to see how good it looked, and I did the same with on PS5. Look, dude, they've made so many improvements to it. I do also need to.
You can't get the Xbox here though, because I would have done it. I would have got an S along with you on the pay monthly thing, but you can't do it here.
Yeah.
I might try and do it, but you have to go into the store as well, and I can't do that. So Xboxes are not, for some reason, there's just no call for them here, which is odd. But
you go into a shop and you go Xbox, and they go, why? There isn't a Y edition. No, why do you want one?
Yeah, I mean, we're the latest stock rumors are that they're going to be here in June, or June towards July. But it's I've given up. I've given up. If you find one, I will love you forever.
I will try at 8 o'clock, Keith, because at 9 o'clock it's clearly gone. But just to reiterate, No Man's Sky looks great. The funny thing is, I'm looking for a second-hand joystick so I can start playing Elite Dangerous, and because I like my space, I
think it's the kind of game that you know Chuck would enjoy, actually, because I know he's not really a gamer, but No Man's Sky is a bit different. It's kind of cool. I like No Man's Sky. It's cool.
And on that one,
I'm still beaving away on the Spider-Man content. I see what you mean, by the way. Now, you made all these sort of comments, and I didn't know what you were going on about Yuri and everything in the game. Now I understand.
Now you know.
The final piece of DLC is quite cool because it's a lot longer than the other two. I mean, I pissed through the first two in like 2 nights, but the last bit of DLC is taking some time.
As I said, the final piece of DLC is Miles Morales. That's the truth.
Well,
let's move on.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
Right now,
and the bad ones.
And
the bad ones.
And the bad ones. Right now, I've stuck the knife into Keith. I'm going to twist it round. Argos issue statement over PS5 restocks that left customers angry. Argos restocked the consoles in the early hours, but customers are left fury and unable to process payments, and some sat on their devices in the baskets for hours before they were unable to buy one. This sounds like bloody bots again. Yeah, bots.
This is what I went through.
Yeah. So it's it's not good. It keeps happening, especially with Argos. Is the one that I keep picking up on. And I'll be honest with you, it is every story I get from Birmingham Live.
Strangely, that's
what's with the
up on
Birmingham
mine.
Live? Yeah, that's the one that comes up number 1 on Google search for PS5. What? Where did that come from? How has that happened?
Birmingham Live's only traffic is coming off the back end of PS5 stock shortages.
If you've got an Android phone and you swipe just left to have a look at the Google recommended news, Birmingham Live is always there, and I've never before. It's PS5 sorted.
Trending on the subject that it is. It's not Birmingham Live. It's PS5 that you've got subject wise.
Yeah.
Google thinks is, and that's why Birmingham Live's getting all this stuff. It's getting mad because no one can get these things at the moment. But fingers crossed, Monday we'll have a road getting out of lockdown, which will allow me to go and see my nan, who I haven't seen in ages. And I'm hoping if they do it soon, I'll be able to see her for her birthday, which will be great, even if it's just for 30 bloody minutes, because I haven't seen her. And it will allow people to go out and buy PS5s, etc. And it will stop this stuff, so Game will be able to support this along with, is it Smith's Toy Store, I think is the other one? Yeah, it's Smith's Toy Store. They're the two big retailers for the consoles, because both Smith's and Game have the special purchasing thing with the £20 a month jobby. So Microsoft no doubtly did their homework for that one. So we've got that, and then hopefully this shit will stop, because it will then turn into you have to be at the physical location rather than buying it. So it'll be a case of turning up and getting it in person. So Keith, how do you feel that you haven't got a PS5?
The same thing. This Argos story is just reminiscent of what happened to me with the so-called Sony store here, who after failing to put them online on the day their pre-orders were meant to go live, they then did it. They then told us they were going to give us news on the Monday, so everybody waited on Monday, only to tell us that they were going to do it on the Wednesday. And when they did it on the Wednesday, I got one in my car and just span for hours. Same thing. I've seen this before. Yeah. It's I've given up.
Okay.
Generally, I'd love one, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
I suppose that's the thing. I might take you up on that.
What's an X52?
Sorry?
What's the X52 then?
I think it's a type of joystick. I'm hoping it's a HOTAS joystick. Well, I'll ask later. All right, so let's move on to our next story.
Hi, this is Nigel, and I'm talking in my lovely narrator's voice. Bask in its loveliness. But don't bask for too long. We need your help. Come to YouTube and watch our videos for the love of God. Well, send Keith round to your next barbecue and he'll eat all your food. Toasty! You have been warned.
I love that one. Right, okay. I like the Silent Hill games on the PS2. They were Right, the Silent Hill games on PS2 were, how can I put it? They were creepy as fuck and got under your skin. And when you got to the end of the game, you were depressed as fuck. Played the original Silent Hill after playing Silent Hill 3, but the 2 and 3 I really adored. Anyway, the maker of Silent Hill Gravity Rush reveals why he left Sony in order to keep making games in his own style. Sorry,
Excuse me.
Oh, what's happening?
Oh, bloody ha!
Right, hang on. For the audio listeners, this is from Balin the
Hang
Hobbit.
on.
Directed at Keith. I will tell you a joke about the PS5, but you probably won't get it. Love it. Well done. No.
Oh no, that is the wrong sound.
No, that was for me.
Okay, fair enough.
But we'll give it for Balin.
Masterful. Absolutely masterful. Anyway, getting back to the story in hand rather than Keith's lack of a PS5. The Silent Hill, he's gone out and he's starting to work on a new game. Director, oh god, we'll call him Keith Toymaster because I can't pronounce that. He's changed the screenshots on, and he does some really kind of like weird stuff which fits with the J-horror kind of genre. This one here is probably the most boring one out of the lot. Dude with samurai sword stands on buildings around things. But we get down to here, and come on, we've got shit like that looks just wow, bizarre. Yeah, there's something climbing out of her face. You can see the claws there, and something happening behind. Real creepy. It was like the reminds me of that Ill game. And then we get through here, and then we've got people who have like kind of like folded over on themselves, having their spine burst out of the top of their head and growing an extra pair of legs.
That's like those humanoid things from Little Nightmares with the extendable necks that follow, but a little creepier.
Yeah. This one looks like it's vomited up an octopus and turned themselves inside out at the same time. It's madness. These things are really outlandish and kind of there's several types. There's a couple of types of horror. There's the horror that you see, which is splat, gore, die stuff, yeah. And then there's the stuff that gets under your skin, and those things are more under your skin than anything else. They are creepy, and oh man, I think if the game's not a hack and slash and it's a survival horror of sorts, I think I might enjoy that because that will be something good. You guys ever play Silent Hill? Is it just me? It's just me. Isn't it? It's just me.
I played the trailer for that Get Unreleased game after you did your video. That's why I was laughing at the beginning, because every time you say Silent Hill, I just remember your video because it is quite possibly the greatest thing ever.
The PT.
The PT demo with his video of him literally shitting himself. It is classic. That video deserved 1 million views. It's so funny. But I played it after you did that, and it is pretty fucking shit you up. It's pretty fucking scary. So yeah. But no, I've never played the main games.
For me, I tried Silent Hill, the first or second one. I just don't like the way it controls. You're using the left stick and it's sort of rotating on the spot, and then you're forward. I really, really, really hate games with controls like that. And to give you an example of a modern day game with these controls, The Medium. I've downloaded that and I've tried playing it last night, and it's got that mechanic for moving around.
They're lovingly referred to as tank controls, and they're from the original. They're not from Resident Evil. They're from Alone in the Dark, I think it is, on the PC.
It is awful. The game would be. The Medium is okay as a game, and I've persevered for a couple of hours in it, even with this horrendous movement system and camera angles they force you to play at, because you can't change the camera angle. I can't stand games with that. Control system. I don't know what
the game's going to be like. I want it to be survival horror. It might not have tank controls. It might just have like regular person controls, shall we say. and it looks to be interesting. Hopefully it'll be something that climbs under your skin, as long as he gets the guy who did the music in Silent Hill, because he did some creepy ass tracks, some great. If you want to freak yourself out, listen to them. And even the one that they did, which was Silent Hill: The Room, which originally wasn't a Silent Hill game, but they put on Silent Hill on top of it and rewrote the story to make it match. Even that game fit, and it was good. And it was the idea of being locked in a room, and the truth is you weren't being locked in a room. Someone was trying to be kept out of that room that you were in. And it was great because it was like a hole in the wall and you climbed through it. It's just, I can't wait to see what they do next. What we've got here, Resident Evil's famous for the tank controls on the PS1. Because you had the fixed camera angles that Silent Hill also had. Silent Hill didn't have as fixed camera angles in the first game as in the first game. The second game it was more like that, but in the first game it moved around a lot more. It was a bit more in depth, and there was a bit where you had to scoop. I was told by a mate, I'll remember when you're in the office in the hospital to scoop up the liquid because you'll need it later. And I was like, okay, so I scooped it up, kept it, and just sat in my inventory for the last part of the game. And then you have to use it to then cure someone, which is like, fuck hell. They make games differently in those days. Anyhow, we need to move on because we've got lots of stuff to cover.
Watching the content so far? Why don't you leave a comment and join in with us?
Right, Nigel threw this in at the last moment. This is currently trending. This is Diablo, isn't it?
Diablo 2. They're remastering it. They're not right. It's not a remake. It's a remaster.
Are these the demons from? Don't do it. It seems not fool and not exempt of what they've done to me. Arise, Diablo.
Just a quick one before we go. Have you all got phones? That's a reference only a few people will get.
Lord of Terror.
20 years ago, was it?
And that music as you enter Sanctuary.
It may yet be your greatest moment.
I like the way they showed like one view from like the old isometric thing on the PC. Cross progression, so it's not cloud safe. That's good.
Yeah, on the website they've got some comparisons on, so you get a slider, a bit like the Mass Effect thing that we were watching the other day. Yeah. And it includes the LOD expansion as well in this.
Okay.
Which I think the LOD one had Necromancer in it, and so Necromancer is included within the base game, which was my favourite character.
I'm not. What do you call it? I'm not a big Diablo fan because it's swords and sorcery, where I'm more rockets and ray guns.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's probably the best way of describing it. So I know that you do pretend to be a dwarf in your spare time.
Hence the beard.
Hence the beard and the giant axe behind him, which you can't see.
I'm sorry, I pretend he is. Look at him.
You have
He's
my
on a
axe.
stool. The legs on his chair are that big.
They are just dangling. Like, see, I used to play a fair bit growing up. Even in my 20s. I had a friend come over. We'd been out drinking. He came over because I was talking to him about Diablo. Can't remember why that came up, but yeah. And for some reason, he'd never played it. He went, "Oh yeah, I'll just come back." And he made a character. This is on my Amiga. Right? Sure it was on my Amiga. And he started playing it, and it got so late, I fell asleep on my bed. I woke up in the morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning. He's still there playing. He's still there playing through the night, and he's almost about to win the game. He's like, oh, God, yes. I was like, mate, I've had a night's sleep. You're still going. Crazy.
Yeah, no, that's the sign of. I said that's always the sign of a good game, because if you can lose hours to it, or it's like you just go one more thing, and then it's like shit. It's 2:00 in the morning. I've got work tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of people out there who love Diablo. I've got Diablo 3 on my PC, and also I've got it on the old PS4. I could go and play it, but I didn't play it as much because I liked playing the Necromancer, and with Diablo 3 they sold it as DLC, and I thought, you're having a laugh, mate. It was literally just the character as well. I thought you're taking the piss now, mate.
Quick one. Diablo 3 had lots of technical issues when it came out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I didn't imagine that, because that was one of the other thing that kind of put me away from even trying it.
Yeah, there was. I think it was all around the auction house and real money, because they were allowing you to spend real money on items in the auction house, and so it got a bit out of hand. Really, they had to shut that down.
Yeah, I can imagine it was getting out of hand. Okay.
So this has come about. This trailer's come about because BlizzCon happened over last few days.
Yeah, and they're definitely trying to win the fans back after their we'll bring out a new Diablo game. And they went, yeah, on mobile, and then what the fuck?
And that's still not out, by the way.
I know that's still not out.
They have mentioned Diablo 4, not said when. This game is meant to be out this year, I think. Don't know when, maybe December.
It's a little easier doing a remaster on the old than the Diablo 3 engine for them, I imagine, and hopefully that's caused them to iron out a few of the kinks and bits.
And if anything is going to spur them on, is the fact that Blizzard's own YouTube channel has released a number of videos from BlizzCon release, for the last few days. Most of them hitting about 20k views. This one, 1.1 million.
Well, clearly people are into it, but we have to see what it's like when we get there. Anyway, we have to move on. So, Mr. Keith, warned you about Agatha, didn't I?
Yeah, whatever.
Also, I'd like to point out, you still owe me 2 T-shirts.
Yeah,
I noticed Chuck had one of your T-shirts, but the 2 T-shirts you owe me, I need one for
bought that with his own pennies.
Sorry?
Chuck bought that with his own pennies. I have a shop, you see, merch.
Really?
Well, I kind of. I wanted to get a couple of T-shirts, and the only way to do it is have a merch store. So, and then you get a discount. But the hoodie's quite a nice one, apparently. Anyway, Wandavision, yes, Agatha Harkness. Nigel won't have a clue, but what she opens up is a can of possibilities of where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going. And it's quite significant. And I think we've just witnessed the change of the Marvel Universe forever. I think Agatha Harkness is definitely going to bring in the multiverse. That book in her room was The Darkhold, which we have seen before in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the fact that... hang on. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did get good towards the end. And the fact that they didn't feature the blip in there, I think, was entirely on purpose. And I think it's about to come back. In actual fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of them turn up in this. We probably won't, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
What's the blip?
It's the snap.
The 5 year. Yeah, they called it the blip. They called it the blip. Sorry?
They did.
Not in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they didn't.
I thought you mean Wanda.
Yeah, no, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they didn't feature the blip. And everybody was going, well, why? And now it would appear that they were in a different universe, because Agatha Harkness is connected to the multiverse. She's connected to WandaVision. And in actual fact, there was a comic book story where how do you say his name? Mephisto turns up and swallows Wanda's children back into his soul because he thought they were fragments of his soul. And then Agatha creates this world for Wanda to live in, where she forgets about her kids and then brings in these new kids, which is exactly kind of what is happening at the moment. So it's interesting. But Agatha Harkness was the nanny for Richard, Fantastic Four's Susan
Franklin
and what's her faces. Nanny. She's not a bad one. She's kind of one of those. She goes a bit nuts, and Wanda ends up killing her, but then she kind of comes back. But she's not an outright bad guy. And in WandaVision, we see Wanda just before she goes in there. She looks at the curtain, and there's a suspiciously looking large green cicada with markings. Now, in the comics, it was a fly, but, this is Marvel Cinematic Universe, so they like to twist things. But that's Mephisto. It's got to be. And if they're doing Mephisto, that means that Kang the Conqueror could be behind it, and that could be the big fucking bad for Phase 4.
No,
and there's just so many things.
Kang the Conqueror.
They were connected. They were connected, but Mephisto was the one that created the Ghost Rider. We've seen Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mephisto's the devil.
Yes,
that's just
exactly.
Polite way of putting the devil for it. So, right, okay. So the things that I noticed in it was they were building up this person who was supposed to be sorting them out with a bit of tech. Yeah, our person on the inside. Yeah, and you're thinking, it's going to be Reed Richards. It's going to be Reed Richards. And it turns out some fucking rando no one knows, no one cares about. All right. But the vehicle that they used looked like it was shielded against cosmic background radiation. Now, I'm not saying that someone had an accident with some cosmic background radiation that may have caused them to have powers, stopping S.W.O.R.D. from having manned space flights because of the danger. But I'm saying that exactly. And that might be the Fantastic Four. And I think there's a chance that we'll get a Reed Richards reference in that. I think the character that's showing up is going to be Michael Fassbender at the end. The big one that they talk about will be Michael Fassbender at the end. Daddy's coming to save his little girl, basically.
If that's the version of it, if we're looking at the Avengers version of Wanda or a different version.
We're going to get Magneto. I was going to call him Magenta then. We get Magneto from the from the Fox universe in the Marvel universe, and he'll be Wanda's father, and he'll be the one that saves her. That's what it's going to be. I put money on that. And and Keith, if you want to bet a third fucking t-shirt,
I don't think it's going to be Magneto, but I won't bet a t-shirt. I think we're about to get. Mephisto.
We'll get Mephisto. Oh, yes, we will. He'll be the one behind Agatha Harkness, because I think that he has. Right, what's happened is he's got Agatha to trick Wanda into doing what she's done, because Agatha's not powerful enough to do it herself, but she's powerful enough to manipulate Wanda into doing it for her. Yeah, which she's doing to help Mephisto do evil shit because he's the devil.
You're going to have to forgive me, guys. I've no idea who these two people are.
It's because they are very much in the comics, but what Agatha Harkness is directly connected to the Fantastic Four, and she is directly connected to Mephisto, and she is directly connected. She's a witch.
Basically. It's an easy way to describe.
So she trains Wanda in the magic, and they hinted at it last week when they showed her in the car dressed as a witch. And you saw, but I think what you saw at the end of episode 7 is a fake out. I don't think Agatha is bad. I think it's a fake out.
I think Agatha did stuff, but it kind of ran away. That's what I think. I think she did something and it ran away from her. I think that's the case. And that's because someone else is behind her that she doesn't know. So she thinks she's pulling Wanda's strings and someone's behind her pulling her strings. I've got a theory. It's not going to be right, but I want it to be right. Okay. The rabbit in there is Sabretooth.
Could be.
I've derped.
It could be. Derp.
Right, sorry. Mr. Yeah, so when she gets in trouble, she'll turn the rabbit into Sabretooth and they'll have to deal with a giant cat man.
But Agatha had a familiar, didn't she? She had a cat that could turn into a leopard, but she then sacrificed it to gain powers of precognitive powers in one of the big stories. But what she signifies, Nigel, is a particular direction that it looks like Marvel's going in. And they've said that WandaVision is the beginning of Phase 4, that WandaVision is the thing that connects to Spider-Man 3 and connects to what's his face? Doctor Strange, because Wanda is in the Doctor Strange movie. So they're definitely doing the multiverse, but it's I think the fact that they've said, "Oh, Tobey Maguire's not in Spider-Man 3," I think that's bullshit.
Yeah,
I think that's utter bollocks. I think Tobey Maguire is very much in Spider-Man 3.
Anyway, you're going off topic. I think we've got 2 episodes left, if I'm right.
I think so. I think it's 9 or 10 episodes.
So we've had the reveal. You'll have the setup for the last episode, the next episode, and then the release, if they've done it right. They had a post-credit sequence with Monica and Quicksilver. That was interesting. She seems to get powers from moving through the barrier. She can see what looks like electromagnetic radiation.
When she stopped herself from being slammed to the floor, didn't she?
She did.
Yes. And more importantly, she stopped. She seemed to be able to stand up to Wanda, which was kind of cool.
So that'll be interesting to see if her powers wake up. All right, we kind of need to move on because we've got a lot.
Just interestingly, though, when this finishes, we get what's his face, the 6 episodes of Falcon, and then straight after that, we're getting Loki. So we've got a Marvel Cinematic Series for like fucking weeks.
Yeah, because the thing with Loki, he's got the TVA, which is the Time Variance Authority, which is based at the Axis or the Nexus, sorry, which was one of the adverts in there. So they're linking. It looks like they're linking them all together. I don't think the worst thing is we get to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It'll have no connection to this whatsoever. We'll have to wait to Loki to get that, and then we'll be fucking. If it is what it is, I'm cancelling fucking Disney Plus straight away. Yeah, if they swap out Loki for a female Loki, I can understand if it's like an episode thing where he pretends to be female Loki to fool someone, which is fine. Anyway, before we go, best bit of Resident Evil last week was when he found what he thought
Resident Alien.
Resident Alien last week was the bit where he thought he found 2 dead kids in his basement. He leans down and he feels their pulse and he goes, "Oh my god, they're still alive."
I've caught up. I haven't seen episode 4 yet, but the cow moment, because I didn't understand what you meant by the cow moment last week. That is all kinds of wrong, but very funny.
And then he goes upstairs, G, and there's somebody stood in his.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. It was just the
and
fact that we did the.
Oh, how's he going to do?
We're married, aren't we? Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's get to our last bit because we need to. So, hopefully, we won't get taken down for talking about COVID, because at the moment in the UK we have a fantastic vaccination program that seems to be working. Our rates and everything are dropping. Nothing to do with seasonality whatsoever. It's to do with our COVID vaccine stuff. And one man was offered the COVID vaccine in error. COVID man offered vaccine after error lists him as 6.2 centimeters tall, giving him a BMI of 28,000.
Nige, that must mean you've had the vaccine as well. If they're basing it on,
yeah, but his weight though, because it's 6.2 centimeters against his weight, which create a BMI of 28,000. Yes, man in his 30s with no underlying health conditions was offered a COVID vaccine after the NHS error mistook him for a person listed as 6.2 centimeters high. Liam Thorpe was told that he qualified for the vaccination and vaccination because of his body mass index of 28,000. He told the BBC Live, "I've put a few pounds on lockdown. I was surprised. I was supposed to have made it to clinically. I'm surprised I had made it to clinically and morbidly obese."
Do you know what? As when he got offered it and they said to him, we've got you down as being morbidly obese with a body mass index of 28,000. When they read that before phoning him, surely they went, is there something wrong here? Because BMI surely do not go that high.
There should have been a threshold on the BMI.
They're usually in the hundreds, right?
Yeah, they're in
less than hundreds. I don't know.
Hundreds. Yeah.
There you go.
No.
NHS says between 30 and 39.9 is obese. So when they read 28,000, they've gone, let's phone him up and ask him if we've got the right details. They didn't. Bloody idiots.
It's a bit worrying, isn't it? The worst thing is I keep seeing these adverts for taking the vaccine on TV, and it seems like out and out propaganda. It scares the shit out of me. It's like, now I'm suspicious. I wasn't before. Yeah, someone told me how the vaccine worked with memory cells and this, that, and the other, and I was like, oh, brilliant, that sounds fine. Doesn't sound as bad as injecting someone with a live vaccine or a dead vaccine, dead viral particles, so your body can adapt. Instead, they put these things, these memory cells, and more like wanted posters in your immune system. And I was fine with it. And then I watched these NHS like kind of, oh, you should take it because it doesn't include gelatin or animal fat. It goes, women worked on this, don't you know? So it must be fine. I'm like, fuck off. You've made me
they're trying to counteract the conspiracy theorists, and the vegans.
Vegans. The conspiracy theories and vegans, they're one and the same. Alex Jones is a vegan. Everybody knows that. The worst thing is that Alex Jones is right from time to time. That's just mind-boggling when he is. That's the bit that gets you. Yes, it is Cyberdyne Systems on Nigel's mug. But a man at 2 point things. Anywho, I think it's time we all wave goodbye to our lovely watchers and finish off for the week. So, with further ado, would you like to say goodbye, guys?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, and thank you all for watching.
And we will catch you on the next podcast. Bye-bye. I'd just like to point out that I am not wearing any clothes from t-shirt downwards, and it feels so liberating.